Train to Busan is a South Korean zombie movie in which the focus is on a group of passengers heading from one city to another whilst the outbreak happens. Central to the story is Sik Woo and his daughter. The father does not have a lot of time for his daughter. In fact, this short train journey to the girl's mother's house serves as an excuse for him to get rid of his daughter for a while so he can focus on his work. So the zombie outbreak in the film is quite apparent and abrupt. We kick off with the story of a guy who neglects his daughter's needs by not coming to her school performance and such, and then boarding the train. And all of a sudden, bang! Zombie apocalypse. It was interesting that the movie didn't launch the zombie overhaul with the cliche of news anchors on the TV announcing the zombies and such. Instead, an infected person hitches a ride on the train and infects another, and then another and another, and it goes on from there. The zombies themselves were refreshing in both their appearance and characteristic. They look like people who've taken way too many illegal drugs concentrated on the face, with the top class effects being done with a combination of makeup and CGI. Very well done CGI. Similarly to Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later, these zombies are fast and the transformations can take seconds. As soon as a person turns, he becomes erratic, animalistic. His limbs spasm around, he hisses and screeches, and runs like a horse with a hot rod stuck up his arse. They launch themselves at victims, rip bits of flesh and skin off them, bite down and immediately turn them into zombies and then move on to the next person. I really like this interpretation of zombies. They looked great, they were fierce, and the unforgiving environment of a moving train with nowhere to run but backwards made for a spectacle of gore. The film switched up locations when it needed to, sometimes having the action take place on the train platform or inside the station. Train to Busan was very gruesome, but I can't be the only one, surely, that found the film bloody hilarious. I don't know if it was the movie's intent, but it was very funny. It's just little scenes here and there. You'd have a establishing shot of several absent-minded passengers sitting on the seats, for example, some reading, some on their phones or looking out the windows absent-mindedly. And then within seconds there's chaos and anarchy, screaming, bodies piling on top of each other, and blood being sprayed everywhere among a chorus of shrieks and hisses and over-the-top music. Just seeing some old poor woman, whose biggest problem seconds before was probably deciding what she was going to eat when she gets home, all of a sudden running like the wind for her life while some maniac spastic whose dislocated arm is swinging around like a sling is bent on eating her face bursts through the compartment. Also, the zombies can't see in the dark, so when the train goes through a tunnel, all the hullabaloo comes to a ceasefire, and there's just a lot of aggravated zombie heavy breathing until the light comes back on and everyone dives for cover behind the seats. It was really funny in a weird way. The characters are pretty cool in the film. We have the father and the daughter, of course, and their journey of bonding and understanding which develops throughout the film. There's also a Hulk-like husband and his pregnant wife, a few baseball players and a head cheerleader, and a slimy company CEO who causes so much needless death through his selfishness that the movie just loves for you to hate and keeps him alive for as long as possible, doing all sorts of slimy things until you finally cheer at his demise. The characters are all diverse enough and well acted. Without a good cast of human protagonists against the zombie horde, a film like this wouldn't work, of course, and the human element is front and center of the movie, as all sorts of characters have established backstories and many go through their own personal journeys. There were one or two illogical decisions that had me scratching my head, illogical assumptions and decisions made by the characters, and not in the way that you sometimes expect characters under pressure to make, but more like the movie needs to get to its next plot point, and it needs to have the characters to do something really stupid to do so. For example, if we say there's the compartment right at the front of the train, let's call it A, and then the next one is called B, where there's people in there, and then C, which is full of zombies trying to get into B. There's this one scene where there's a standoff with the characters in compartment B, where several scummy characters want the nicer guys, who they suspect of being infected, to move into compartment A, the one behind them, further away from the zombie horde. But surely you would want to be as far away from the zombies as possible, so you would have moved into compartment A yourself. But this of course was a setup so that when the zombies broke through the compartment, they end up taking out all the bad characters at the same time. There's a few dumb things like this here and there. Oh, and a sequence where a part of a train rolls over with horrific CGI, but it didn't really detract too much from the overall experience. The last half an hour felt a little tacky when compared to the rest of the film. It started to get a little bit too melodramatic, and it did mar the pacing of what felt like a great climax after 90 minutes. It was a good film though, with some interesting characters and a tense, enthralling feel. I give it 7 out of 10.